The term military analyst is not a legally protected term. It's not like doctor. It's more like economist. You know, any asshole can start calling themselves one and fart out a vaguely plausible opinion on the current situation.
We got a good question. I like the occasional economic and philosophical questions. And Doug writes, hey, Captain, you mentioned living wage from time to time. I find it an obscure concept. You also seem critical of employers and that they ought to provide this living wage thing. Please explain. Frankly, you sound like a Marxist when you bring up this topic, Doug. So it is a nuanced take I have. It's on a living wage, and one more practicality than me making a declarative policy like statement like we should institute a living wage. I don't believe in a minimum wage. I don't believe in forcing employers to pay a minimum wage, because some economic activity, some jobs, some whatever, businesses, industries, it doesn't pay. It's not profitable to have some kind of minimum wage. What I'm trying to convey is more to the workers. And you're right. I do sound like a communist when I'm arguing this. And I'm not. I fucking hate the Democrats. You guys are fucking fascists. You're Nazis. You're anti-free speech. You're communists. You're pieces of shit. You're lazy parasitic scum. I mean, there is not anything more in the world that I hate more than communists, because they are just parasites. At the end of the day, they're psychopathic parasites. But when I'm looking at it in terms of a living wage, is how else can you work for someone if you're not paid enough to live? And we can't just go all doctrinaire, one side or the other, left or right, full-blown capitalism, anarchy, full-blown socialism, communism. You have to look at the end of the day and say, look, if people can't live off of the wage you are paying, well, then they can't live off the wage. And don't be surprised when people don't come work for you. And the criticism or the concept of a living wage, it's a fact, right? I've talked about it before, where I had to look it up. The escape velocity of Earth's gravitational pull is 25,020 miles per hour. You either going faster than that and you escape, go into orbit, or you go slower than that, you fall back to Earth. It's the same thing when it comes to wages. You're either going to pay them enough that people can live off of it, because if you don't pay them enough to live off of it, they can't fucking live. And here there's criticism of both sides. All right. One, in terms of criticizing the employers, I think in terms of practicality, especially today when you're looking at outsourcing to AI or actual Indians, having the ridiculous educational requirements of young people today to get an entry-level job that doesn't even pay living expenses. And then you say, well, you got to work at downtown. You got to commute. You got to come in the office. And they don't pay enough money for people to afford to live nearby at a reasonable distance. And, well, I mean living wage. Okay, I know I'm going to sound like a communist here. I'm not. Trust me. When I mean living wage, I mean, so it's not a ridiculous commute. So you can afford food, clothing, and shelter. That you can live. What do you need to live? Food, clothing, shelter, right? That's what everyone said. Well, do you corporations require bachelor's required, master's preferred? Are you paying enough so that they can pay off their student loans, right? That they need to pay off their student loans. They need to live. And not only that, another one I'd add is, are you paying them enough that they have enough money left over to save for retirement? That is to live. And then we could debate about, are you paying them health care because they need health care? I don't think they need health insurance. They need health care, but that's a different discussion, right? They got to go to the hospital. They got to go to the dentist. And when you look at it, it's absurd what employers are expecting to pay employees. And this doesn't even get into the practicality of having a loyal labor force, right? Remove for a second how unions and Democrats then abuse it, right? You got all these assholes and Los Angeles who work in the movie industry, and they're all unionized, and they've absolutely abused it to where it's not profitable for the company to make a living anymore, profit anymore. Now it's cheaper. Was it Mel Gibson was able to fly his entire crew to Bulgaria to film for 2 days than it was to go film for 2 days in Los Angeles? Look it up. All right, that's going the other extreme. But if you're not going to pay people enough to live, and then also you're going to pay them so little that they might take it out of pure desperation, that they'll work there temporarily, always looking to move somewhere else. And then on top of it, this is also important, you're not going to train them. Corporations or employers in general are shooting themselves in the foot and failing to realize long-term, it is in their best profit maximizing interest to get a well-trained, adequately compensated, loyal, living wage paid labor force. Because, and I know this is going to shock a lot of you, people in charge of corporations are dumb. They don't think beyond 2 quarters. And for a long time, because, I had to go work for corporations, like, look, if you would train people, let's just take training as one example. If you would train people and not require a bachelor's required, master's preferred because your HR Karen bitch is in charge, these kids could work at a lower wage. Why? Because they don't have college expenses and they didn't waste 4 years going to college. If you pay them enough that they wouldn't look elsewhere, then all of a sudden, you're not always looking for new employees. So now your turnover is lower, and then your actual real labor costs are going down per unit of good produced because they're sticking around. They're better trained, they're better employees, they're more productive. And then over time, right, I think, what was it? The average tenure of a Zoomer, someone under 30, is like not even 2 years. What efficiencies, what labor efficiencies are evolved in that short period of time before they go somewhere else and they got to relearn the whole new dynamics and culture and how you do things here, right? You're constantly churning over employees. No, what would it be? Experience efficiencies are gained, but none of the managers of corporations or employers do the math or even the logic on that and say, you know what? If we pay our employees an extra $3 an hour and we spend another $1 million on training to get them really good training, they are going to produce $8 million more because they're sticking around for 5 years. Corporations, since I've been going it, they've never realized that. They are, and this is a big legitimate criticism of the shareholder maximization, the fiduciary responsibility corporate managers have to the shareholders. It's a drawback, but it shouldn't be that hard to see. It's not wrong, but they're doing it the wrong way. If your goal is to maximize shareholder wealth, you cannot think of just the next 2 quarters. You have to think long term. But why they can't see that, I don't know. Why a CEO, your average CEO in America right now, like that fuckwit who's in charge of Ford, where they outsourced all the engineering overseas to Mexico and Lord knows where else. They fired the American engineers. And now the latest generation of Ford cars coming out, they have a record number of recalls. And now the Ford CEO is bitching away, we can't find enough mechanics to fix all the recalls. I'm like, they're not smart. They're not that smart. So you're talking with a group of people who do not understand. At the end of the day, it's quality. Quality is profit maximization in the long run. That includes your product and your employees. And if you're not going to pay them enough of a living wage to keep them loyal, let alone motivated to work hard, you're not going to train them so they can't do the job right. You got to go get a bachelor's required, master's preferred, hit the ground running, steep learning curve. Like, you're going to do that baby boomer bullshit? Why are you even hiring employees at this time? And I think they are so in that echo chamber of, employees are an expense and not an asset, that now you're starting to see what's happening, which I think is going to be the demise of corporations mostly everywhere in the United States. They don't believe in the concept of labor quality. They really think they can go and swap you out with your 6 years experience and an engineering degree from some guy in India who paid to have a bullshit degree and do it for shit. They really think you're interchangeable. They don't believe in the concept of investing in employees, employee labor quality. And it shows, right? Okay, Ford's cars are breaking down, record number of recalls. I mean, anything you guys buy is breaking down. People aren't going to restaurants anymore. Why? Because everything is Cisco roadkill shit. You can't go out because on the money side, you don't know if your job's going to be here, be outsourced to India or AI. So people aren't buying shit no more. And when you look at all the work that goes into, I mean, look at the trillions they're trying to spend on AI to basically replace white collar workers. And look at all the work they've done in setting up overseas. And then look at all the work they have to do because the quality control and the product has gone to shit. All of that is, I mean, I have to do the math, but I guarantee you at least 3 or more times, it wouldn't surprise me it's 10 times more expensive. If you just paid your fucking employees a living wage, gave them adequate training, and they would produce more, not only more widgets, but higher quality widgets over enough time. And so as a capitalist or an analyst or an economist, whatever you want to call me, I look at it because I've lived it. I'm like, dude, I mean, we've all been there, right? You're at the office or you're at the factory, you're a blue collar worker, and you're looking like, hey, you know what? If we install this software, it would really streamline this thing and we could make more widgets. Or you're on the steel factory. Hey, you know what? If we move the assembly line over here, and that would save us a fair amount of time. And what do? You get in trouble. Your bosses yell at you. And what the fuck do you care? You're not paid enough to give a shit because you're looking for another job. And in many ways, it's a lot like the modern dating apps via social media, where there's always the quality is shit right now in the dating apps. So, but it seems like there's this unlimited amount of other opportunities out there. So you never commit to one. So you're always looking, you're always willing to jump ship. And you're going like, oh, wow, this is shit too. And all this job searching and firing people and trying to replace them and continual improvement and cost cutting and private equity bros, at the end of the day, it is the wrong strategy. I don't know how they're myopically got the horse blinders on and they think lower costs equals higher profits long term. I think in general, U.S. employers especially are wrong. They have already gone well past. I'm all for you like getting efficient, right? Oh, hey, we got a software that replaces these people. Okay, I get that. You could, there's no reason to keep fat around or something has become obsolete. But they waste so much time nickel and diming, trying to outsource. We're going to replace you with AI. That they are spending more on managing not only that process, but the fallout from it, whether it's lower quality products, recalls, that if they just paid a little bit more, right? And and then don't even get me started about like managing the business. Like, hey, how about you just try not to fuck over your employees and make it a fucking nightmare to work where you're at? Pay them a living wage, make it so, and maybe it just doesn't come up on spreadsheets. Maybe all their internal business analysts don't see it. But what doesn't factor into your spreadsheets and analysis is what happens when they leave your office and they go home. If someone's got to commute, the GF wasted an hour and a half for years commuting. All right. That's not even that bad that's round trip, 45 minutes away. That's not the worst. I knew one guy 2 hours each way, Los Angeles. Do you think they're healthy? Do you think they're getting enough sleep? Do you think they're motivated, or are they depressed because they're basically a slave? They got their 8 hours and they got their 4 hours round trip commute. Maybe they got to go shop. They're stressed and taxed. I mean, it's a perfect example where we can't have you work remotely. Oh, okay. So you'd like a stressed out, tired, exhausted, prone to make mistakes employee coming into your office? What was it? Happy cows make happy ice cream or happy milk, right? Don't you want your cows to be happy? And they keep, I mean, I guess the cow is a really good analogy. Like, you keep feeding your cow less. And look, even the Egyptians, even the Southerners, the Confederates knew to feed the slaves. A weak, emaciated slave ain't going to work that hard in the field. You don't feed your slaves, they ain't going to haul the rocks up there and build the pyramids. And they don't get that. Why? Probably they're myopic. Their horse blinders are on. They're looking at numbers in spreadsheets and not even doing logical, common thinking sense. So my advocation for a living wage is not because I'm a socialist or I believe that every human has the right to get this amount of money for whatever job. No, because again, kiosks and fast food, it's like, well, yeah, you're probably not worth $10 an hour. The company, or if you pay $10 an hour for, let's just say, McDonald's, well, they pay more. They're probably paying like 15 or 20 nowadays. Surprise, the price of your burgers are going to go up. All right. Now it's not cheap, affordable food. So I understand. I'm not advocating a minimum wage because that masks the your real costs, and some processes, some jobs can be automated, or they're just not. If you pay too much, then the industry is not profitable. And that's where you could kind of have like, okay, part-time work, high schoolers, kids and all that. Maybe pick up some side work. My advocation for a living wage is because it won't work otherwise. And we're already seeing that. It is in evil right-wing conservative capitalist pigs. It's in your best interest. It's in your best interest to feed your fucking slaves. Does that make sense? There is so much more money you could make in terms of quality products, customer loyalty, repeat business, right? How many of you guys would go, you'd pick a credit card right ahead, go get a credit card? You know which company I'm going to go with? The one that has an American English speaker. Not where I have to like, what was that? Whether you're in the Philippines or India or Pakistan. What? I mean, going back to the food, I'm done eating Cisco slop. I'm done. Fuck you, Cisco. Although I can't fault you. I mean, but all you companies that just go and reheat Cisco food, fuck you. I'm done. I can taste it. I go and pay extra money to get a real meal made by actual chefs. Now, we're not talking high-end dining, although occasionally I do go to the high-end dining places, as a treat. But I will pay extra money to go. For example, they got a Brazilian steakhouse in Vegas. They don't have one in South Dakota. Well, they do, but it's over in Sioux Falls. A different story. Right? I'm willing to pay for that because it's good. It's priced. It's, once a year a thing, but I'll pay for it. And if you paid your employees more, fine, your expenses go up, but you're going to get repeat business, and you could even charge more. Dishwashers, right? I'm sure all your dishwashers have been outsourced to wherever it is. China, Mexico, Vietnam, I don't care. And then you come here and you shitify the product. And then the product breaks down because you saved yourself a nickel on a plastic bushing when it should have been a metal bushing. They say you're tripping over $1 to pick up a dime. Just as you would drop extra money to have a higher quality component, something as simple as a valve or a washer. Why can't you do that with your employees so that they're not spitting in your food, so that they're not completely demotivated, even motivated to sabotage your product. So that when you ship out a product, it's a good quality product at a fair price. And then people are like, wow, this is a really good product. I would like to buy more of this. But yeah, I think because of the echo chamber, myopic, horse blinders on analysis, all their internal analysts just look at numbers. They don't look outside. And because executives are compensated, it's not necessarily this way, but largely stock options and number must go up, even though there is no way to get the number to go up. You've already optimized the company. So now we're going to cut into the muscle. So it looks like our number go up, but we're really sacrificing our entire future customer base. That shit's got to end. Now, how you do it, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of already happening, right? So I don't know how Bob Iger still has his job. They are getting rid of the guy at Target. They're bringing in a new guy. You look at these companies where the stock price has gone down, they are inevitably starting. So, I mean, in a long-term way, the market is starting to very beginning to start to correct this. At the rate it's going, it's going to be another decade before corporations start realizing, like, it's a mutually benefit. Like, how many other analogies do you want? It takes more effort, quote, more money, more resources. It takes more time, more effort to stay in shape for your marriage or dating in general, right? But if you put that extra investment in there, guess what? You get the payoff down the road. It's a longer term thing. It's not 2 quarters, but if you put in the extra effort of working out, you have better chances, right? So if the husband and wife, the employers and the employees agree, I'm going to put extra effort in and we're going to pay you more, guess what happens? I think that's a perfect analogy right now. Everyone is trying to do the least amount of work possible in their marriages, relationships, whatever, and it shows. And now you have misery and nobody likes it. No one's having sex. Same thing with employers and employees. You employers are going to pay shit wages. The employees are like, fine, fuck you, shit work. You know, unlike relationships, employees have to come to the table, but they don't have to put in their best. And don't get me started about knocking it off with the political middle school bullshit. But I don't know. I think that's just endemic for people with like 95 to 105 IQs because it's popularity and doing if you just got rid of the bullshit and could talk honestly and direct, like, we need to do this, let's go. A lot of that would go away. But you guys are MBAs and you're fuckwits and you're like, bro. You're bros and Becky's, girl bosses and douche canoes and finance bros. So it's just drama. Like, if you could just remove the drama, that would expedite it. But to me, the concept of a living wage is, we need a certain level of octane in our fuel for this engine to fire up. And corporations are like, well, can't we get by with less? No. This engine is engineered. It needs 91 octane. You will destroy the engine, and then they'll throw 88 octane in there anyway. Oh my God, why did yeah, great. You saved yourself $3 on a tank of gas. Well, why is the engine breaking down? So I'm not advocating the government comes in and mandates a minimum wage, because then you're going to have inefficient industries, sectors, businesses where they're paying that, and now prices go up beyond what the actual costs are. And I'm all for, like, oh, can we automate this? Yeah, sure. Please produce more with less. But I would say 85% of the instances, they are trying to cheap out on labor. It's costing them more in the long run. And we're seeing it in terms of the quality of the goods. Yeah, sure. Okay, your profits went up 1 quarter. Great. And then your sales take. I mean, how many places you want to point it out? Harley Davidson, Ford, Disney, the food industry, right? Oh my God, no one's going out to eat anymore. Have you thought about not making shit? Have you? I mean, God, I saw data. I tried to look it up. I think Korea spends like it's over 1%. South Korea, obviously, spends over 1% on training. And the United States is like 0.4% on training. Meanwhile, what is it? What do we piss away on? Probably something like 8% on education. Not training, college education, high school. Like, we don't need education. We need you corporations to fucking train people. Give them the boomers, they graduated from high school and just started working. They could afford a house. Yeah, because they'd have to go through fucking college. Corporations would train you. And so ultimately where my concept of the living wage, why I'm insisting on is because it ain't going to work otherwise. But I want to get that concept to employees, to workers. Again, not a Democrat, not a socialist. And this is why I have a lot of respect for the Zoomers, where they're like, nah, go fuck yourself. No, I can't live on that. It was hard as Gen X. It must have been incredibly difficult as millennials. I think they're like the very last generation where they played by the rules and it just destroyed them. Like they're barely getting by. They went into debt. They did all this. They played, okay, I'll work hard. It wasn't the last time that was maybe acceptably feasible might have been Gen X. It wasn't for the millennials. And the Zoomers like, fuck you. Go to school for Holly. You adults are telling me I got to go to school for 19 fucking years to get a master's degree, and then you'll give me a job that might be living wage? Get fucked. Ooh, and I get a fat wife to boot with an attitude. Let me just sign up for that shit all day. American kids don't want to work. Yeah, okay, fine. I'll grant you they're a little bit lazy, but you guys send them to the public schools and like, oh my God, you're entitled to free shit, man. You're brave and amazing. Democrat horse shit. But at the same time, since 5 years old, you've been in school. And now that you're 23 and you're finally getting your master's degree, we're going to give you a competitive benefits compensation package. Yeah. So we're going to pay you $50,000. That means you're not going to be able to afford anything within a 30-mile radius of this. You got to come downtown because that's where all the action is. So your commute's going to be an hour and a half one way. So 3 hours of your life gone. We expect you to stick around a little bit later. And then really you do the math on what I really do the math. And when you do the math, say, no, I got to live within 10, 15-minute commute. That's acceptable. I'm not wasting an hour of my day back and forth. All right. I got to be under an hour. You look at the radius, what the rent is, and then you got to add, whatever, insurance, living. Look at it. Does it pay me enough to afford this? It doesn't. Fuck you. It's not a living wage. And if it's not a living wage, I can't live. And it's going to take, it is going to take another generation of corporate executives and business leaders and managers, not only to abandon this DEI, racist, sexist, ESG, market to Democrat dumbasses horse shit. But it's going to take, they're like, hey, you know what? Maybe they'll invest all the money in the world in technology and equipment and buildings and all that, but you won't accept crime. You will not invest in your employees at all. I'm not talking bending over backwards for fucking Marxist socialist lazy fuckwits posing as a corrupt union. Here's a kid coming out of college. He's been in school since 5. Are you fuckers going to pay that guy a living wage? Are you going to look how far employers have gone where they're posting fake job ads so they can scrape data. So they could keep a pool reserve of resumes. Like, no. You have way too much time on your hands. And you should be, think of the labor wasted on that alone. Posting fake job ads. Your corporate management and your corporate strategy is so wrong, so fucked, so inefficient, so bloated, so delusional, so mentally ill if you're doing that. And I am 100%, if I have to come down, okay, younger people are lazy, okay, I grant you that. But if I got to come down, it's going to be like 85-15 in favor of the Zoomers not working for you assholes. Because why would they? They can't. Dude, for you people to say the Zoomers should go work for corporate America is like saying I should get an erection for a fat chick. I can't. It's not possible. This isn't an opinion. It's not a lack of work ethic, and it's not misogyny. I can't get it up for a fat chick. It's not possible. And so, I'm not dumb enough to believe like, oh, of course, capitalists make mistakes all the time. That's why we should have just let the banks fall apart in 2007, 2008. With the .com bubble, this AI fucking bullshit now. They should absolutely lose all their fucking asses. They should be poor. And you're going to, predicted it before, every corporation in the United States is just going to become a logo. It's just going to be a logo. It's going to be a piece of paper in Delaware with a team of 5 or 6 corporate executives in the United States. If they're manufacturing something, it's going to be manufactured in China. All the white-collar work will be outsourced to India. And in the United States, no one's going to buy their shit because, well, there ain't no jobs anymore and we can't afford it. And 2, it's going to be an absolute dog shit service. Just go, mark my words, watch what's going to happen to the big 4. Mark my words. Or Ford today. I mean, the future is now always. You can always find with the future. Go look at Ford. Ford's a perfect example. Let's outsource everything overseas. Oh shit, why did our products go to crap? Hey, Ford, is this fun? Is this fun? I wonder what would happen if you just built here in the United States, not in a Democrat state, of course. Trained your employees adequately. Oh, we can't find mechanics. Have you thought about not needing mechanics in the first place because you built quality product? Oh, but you know what? You saved a fucking nickel on a plastic oil pan cover. Fuck. So, yes, I believe people, capitalists are not always going to make mistakes. Capitalists, in a blind pursuit of profit, thinking that somehow there's an easy way, right? The finance bros, the big idea guys, the private equity bros, they're always going to go and try and cut. Let them fail. We're at a stage where it's like, yeah, you know what? The wife has not only gotten fat, she's gotten lippy. She's watched too much Oprah. She started banging other guys and expects you to still marry her. Yeah, you know what? We're at an impasse. Have fun with that. These companies will go out of business, or they'll just be so fully exported overseas, they're not going to be here, except in logo and Delaware Corporation in name only. And they won't be part of this formula. You'll be working for some other company that actually hires people. I think the future is going to be people building their own damn houses or becoming tradesmen and tradeswomen, working things that are here. And fine, you think you can replace Americans with foreigners? Go right the fuck ahead. Go right the fuck ahead. You think Bangladeshis are as good at creating alloys and building cars as Americans, or I don't know, Japanese people, right, who have an established track record? Go ahead. You think experience and quality and years experience don't matter? Fine. Go replace all your old engineers with brand new ones, fresh out of college with their first pubes coming in just now. Have fun with that. In the meantime, I would strongly encourage every young person today, keep doing what you're doing. If it's not possible for you to work there, don't work there. Right? And I would almost legit start thinking more Amish. All right, I've spent 4 hours sending out resumes today. That's 4 hours I could have dug a hole in the ground and then worked some other kind of job for another 4 hours to pay the concrete people to pave a concrete pad. Okay, I spent another day sending out resumes. That's 8 hours I could have spent working to afford some basic lumber or a kit to build a Quonset hut or some cheap, affordable housing. Okay, I wasted all this time doing that. I could have gone on YouTube and learned how to fix my own car and save some money. It's becoming less and less tenable to even bother working for these companies. And yes, unfortunately, young people or poor people or people in general, yeah, you need money somewhere. You're going to have to work for these companies. But I would not, absolutely not be putting my life, hanging my life career or investing long-term at these places. I would be going and doing my own thing. Gardening, whatever it is. It's less efficient to go to college, get a degree, go to work my way up, and then go buy the groceries than it is to maybe just go have your own damn garden. Although farming is very efficient, food is very cheap here. So gardening is probably very inefficient. But mechanics, oh my God, don't start me a bum. Yeah, I'll just do my own work. Thank you. Thank you, Jessup. I could tell you were trained at Ford. Link below several resources so you guys can avoid this as much as possible, go get my book, Bachelor Pad Economics, the Financial Advice Bible for Men and Women who are bold enough to read it. Please, for the love of God, get your finances together so you're not $80,000 in debt for some worthless horseshit degree, or you got a car brand new and a lease. For the love of God, will you get your finances together? So there's that. If you're interested in finding a living wage job, may I recommend looking at accounting? Me and Chad put together a course called The World's Greatest Accounting Career. It is probably one of, I wouldn't say the, though, I'm trying to think of another one. One of, if not the best industries or professions to get into if you want to be remotely and or self-employed. If you're interested in accounting, take a look at that. That's The World's Greatest Accounting Career. You can find that on Teachable. And then, Amazon affiliate. I guess it's Christmas is coming up. Yesterday I went out and I'm trying to run errands. Like, why the fuck are there so many goddamn people? It's like, it's Black Friday. I'm like, shit. If you want to do all your Amazon shopping and avoid these assholes at Black Friday, my Amazon affiliate link is down below. You can go to assholeconsulting.com/Amazon. That is assholeconsulting.com/Amazon. And there's the little link and logo. You just click on that. You do all your shopping. You can log in after that, or you go to the link first and then log in. Okay. Or you go to the link, do your shopping, and then log in. It doesn't matter. As long as you go to that link first. Don't go to Amazon.com. Go to assholeconsulting.com/Amazon. Click on the link. You're golden. You don't pay anything extra. I get a 5 or 6. No, I don't even get 6. I get 4 or 5% commission or cut. Fresh out of Jeff Bezos' wallet. And Mackenzie Bezos' mouth. All right. Super chats. Aaron Purdue, $5. Walter E. Williams. I missed that guy. Men, let me tell you how to train your wives. Walter E. Williams. He was the best, man. Good Intentions, 1983. Stop stealing his ideas. Oh, wait, Republicans in the Senate. Yep. No, I don't steal his ideas. Like, you think, and if you're intellectually honest, you come to the same conclusions. Like, people say, oh, did you read Atlas Shrugged? I'm like, never did. Oh, that's the same. They came to that. I'm like, yeah, I came to it through a different conclusion. Mazatol, $2. Welcome, my son. Welcome to the machine. Aaron Purdue, $5 again. Even Toyota Tundra with their new turbo and shitified. Even Toyota does dude bro corporate now. The world is over. Yeah, and don't worry. I'm this close, guys. I'm this close to just starting Aaron's analog, where I'm like, go to find some simple industries where I can say, all right, we're doing quality products. And I'm just going to start there. I'm like, nope, we're doing a quality product dishwasher. There's no microchips. There's no app. You plug it in. There's temperature, 3 settings. Click, click, click. Cold, warm, hot. Click, click, click. 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes. Click, click, click. Low, medium, high water. That's it. There you go. That's it. We're done. We're done. Made with high quality components. And yeah, maybe you got to pay $500 for a washer, but it should last you forever. And if it doesn't, you let us know ASAP. Dre, $2. Define living wage, economist. It sounds entitled. It depends on where you're living. All right, if you want me to define, let's do it this way. Round trip commute hour. So there's your lease. Okay. It should pay for a 1-bedroom apartment, so meaning one person. It could be a studio, doesn't it be a fan? In a reasonably safe, not a high-end neighborhood, a reasonably safe, not the shitty ghetto, a reasonably safe 1-bedroom apartment within an hour round trip, so 30 minutes there and back, or one way. That lease, it should pay for that. Yeah, and keep in mind, this is after tax. You should probably pay for the health insurance of some kind. They should throw, if they're requiring a college degree, they should pay you enough. I say that there's enough extra money left over that you can pay off your student loans in 3 to 5 years. Ideally 3, because they're the assholes that required it. So there's that. Like they should even maybe offer that as compensation. And we will have, here's our amortization. What's your student loan debt balance? Okay, we are going to pay this off for you in 3 to 5 years. And that goes directly, like instead of going directly into your 401k or IRA, this directly goes into your paying off your student loans. They should also pay, like through the amortization, a monthly amount that you can retire adequately. I'm going to say 70 because life expectancy is going up and shit like that. I'm going to say 70. They should also pay you, other things like enough to afford housing or not housing, clothing and food. Those are the main ones. And there should be a little bit of money left over for you to go have to afford a 2-week vacation or whatever they pay you for a vacation. They should have it where it's like, okay, and we're going to pay you $2,000 for that 2-week vacation. You can go to an actual vacation like Disney World or something like that. And enough money, $150 a week in fun expense. So you can go and live. So you can have some kind of hobby. Now, whatever that is, you add that all up. That's the wage in that area, in that zip code with those rental prices. That's what it should be. But, or you don't have a college degree, but we're going to train you so we don't have to pay your student loans back. So you don't, your corporations, we want you to work for this, but I can't afford to live on that because my student loans out. That's not our problem. Well, yeah, it actually kind of is because you're the one requiring the college degree. But if you're willing to train, there's no student loan debt. At one time they had corporate housing. Like, yeah, you could live on campus. You want to make it difficult to find employees? Go ahead. First step is pay people not enough to live. That's fine. Aaron Purdue, $5. Mazatol and I got a get rich quick scheme. We're going to register Minnesota autistic schools from out of state. Free money. You should, man. You should take those dopes for all the money in the world. The women going to vote it. You dude, watch. Minnesotans, especially their women, but also their men, they're going to vote to enslave themselves again. They just can't help themselves. They're going to do it. Watch. Tim Walz, if he runs again, he'll get elected. Don't worry, the state ain't going to turn red. Ken Rose, $2. He says, hello. Kenny Firebird, $10. I make a decent amount of money. I live in Western Montana, and the cost of rent, never mind buying land, is stupid. I enjoy my job, love working for my boss, but at some point I need to move. It's crazy. Yeah. If you can't live, you can't. Oh, I'm sorry. Transportation too. I forgot to add that in there. You should have like a reliable used car. Yep. You're either going to pay people enough to live or you're not. If you're not going to pay them enough to live, don't be surprised when they don't buy your fucking products. Right? And I don't know, like a very short-sighted move on employers' part in the United States is they can't wait to never hire a single American, right? They want everything outsourced overseas. But then they think like, oh, then we're going to come to America and sell them their shit, right? Ford is made overseas. It might be assembled here in the United States, but it's made overseas. Everything is done overseas. All the jobs are overseas. And then we're going to come back to America and sell Americans the foreign-made shit. And then being like, with what money are they going to buy your foreign-made shit? At that case, you're just a foreign company, right? Okay, fine. You're a foreign company, but you didn't hire us, which means we're going to have to like make our own jobs, which has always been the case. But I don't know how you're going to expect people to afford whatever a brand new car is going for, college degrees. You want Americans to pay for all this shit. You want to buy all this shit, but you're not going to pay them anything. You can't wait to outsource the job. Like, let me know how that works for you. Fuzzbrain, $5. Really though? Why do I need an app for my effing toaster? Because girl boss and dude bro. Because it's an improvement. Dre, $2. Is living wage same as bare minimum effort? No, I would say that is minimum wage is bare minimum effort, right? You're going to pay me the least amount you can pay me. I'm going to give you the least amount of work I can possible, which everyone kind of does it a certain way every year, right? A living wage is not... No, because the living wage, as I'm defining it, would motivate like, wow, the employer is actually taking care of me. I'm getting good sleep. I'm not stressed out with a 3-hour commute. Yeah, it's not the greatest job ever, but it's fair. So you might, and it's like, oh, if I stay, and also it's like, wow, I kind of got a good thing going here. I'm going to make sure I do good and not get fired. So I don't think living wage would equate to a bare minimum effort. But if you're just going to either pay minimum wage or competitive compensation, which is barely enough for them to get by, then you are going to get bare minimum effort. But I would say bare minimum effort, not only in terms of minimum wage, but more so that's determined by how hard you make it at the firm to work hard. Like if it is a political middle school nightmare and you got DEI girl bosses and Becky's and Trish's and dude bro and like if you're going to make, and you got some baby boomer boss who like just is deathly afraid of technology. If you make it a middle school insane asylum, then you're going to get the bare minimum effort. And there you got stories. That's why Dilbert is so popular. Chad Twilzer Stroke, $2. Great cigar. Thanks for the recommendation, Cappy. No problem. Glad you enjoyed it. Donald J. DeMarco, $5. The college I work for pays academic advisors starting at mid $30,000 range. Okay, that's not really a thing, but okay. Asking for bachelor's, master's preferred, of course, seems off by 10,000. Okay, here we have a unique thing. We're in the public sector now. There should be no such thing as academic advisors because they've never done their job right. That is also a job where they'll just throw anyone in there with a college degree, and you get a bunch of liberal arts majors and social science majors to come in there like, let me help you out, because all they know is academia. It's the blind leading the blind. They're not even worth $30,000, but it's a perfect example you're pointing out. Like the bachelor's required, master's preferred for a job that probably, I'm going to assume wherever that is not a living wage salary. It just isn't. But that position should be gone because, college advisors or student advisors, they have failed for 3 generations now, and y'all should be fired. You should be at home making babies. Chad Twizzler Stroke, $2. Don't think it was a Tinder bot. Got a suspension. Wait, what? What do you mean you got a... What are you talking about, Chad? Aaron Purdue, $5. Buy cheap land, build a small frame solar well, septic work at gas station for play money. Exactly. If you throw away eating out, brand new car, college degree, bro, at fun party school, fancy, if you just go and look at living, the system that they want you to go through, where, by the way, you're taxed at about 38%, versus just building the damn shit yourself. Like, think about this. If you start at 16, you, under the guide or guidance of your old man or carpenter, could probably go build your own house, own it mostly outright by the time your friends are graduating from college at 22. Seriously. If you learn to fix your own cars, why would you go work downtown, commute, pay the tax of going to college, pay the tax of paying interest on top of your student loans, get taxed at 38% when you could just 100% of your hour of labor fixing the car goes to you? It's not, you don't have that 38 to 50% efficiency loss. Chad Twizzler Stroke, $2. But Cappy, fat people can't afford food, need EBT. Yep. That's good for them. Aaron Purdue, 10 generous dollars again. You think boomer bosses are bad? Try millennial boss. Makes the Dilbert boss look bright. Oh, God, I can't imagine. I know the millennials are in their 40s now, so they're kind of like getting into middle management. And if the corporate board is really edgy, they put you in charge like that fuckwit they put in charge of Cracker Barrel or the gal that did the Bud Light advertisement. She's the marketing girl. Yeah, are millennials? I don't know, because I hang out with a handful, of course, but they're good people. But is the millennial generation, do you realize you were lied to and therefore you're wrong? Or are you still doubling down on this I know better horse shit because we're the most educated generation ever? I think you still trying to push your politics into everything, or maybe we just get down to brass tacks and maybe start building some affordable housing. Do you admit your college degree was a waste of time and you should become a tradesman? Or are you going to insist that you are better than a tradesman? Especially you girls, because I have a college. Are you girls still doubling down that your college degree is a measure of your worth when it's a joke of a degree? Are you still believing that shit? Or do you admit the guy, cleaning out poop as a plumber is more important, more valuable than you? When we get to that point, then we can start fixing and healing and increasing standards of living. In the meantime, I suggest you all get your MBAs. Chad Twizzler, stroke $2. Millennial bosses tend to be more flexible. Okay, I could see that. It's going to be hard to beat the boomers. It's going to be hard to beat rank stupidity, rank short-sightedness, rank arrogance. At least a millennial. I gotta imagine millennials are more like, yeah, work from home. What the fuck, right? In other words, the millennial boss would be like, yeah, work from home. We don't want you here. We don't want to pay corporate rent, right? Okay, cool. Oh, by the way, Shanique was replacing you, and she has half the experience you do. But she did that thing real good, and so we got to promote you because you're a white, right? So there's the drawback there because you're just so addicted to your socialist politics. Aaron Purdue, $5, but marketing degrees make me smarter than experienced Joe. I'm special. Yeah, right? You just like, no. Like the millennial would be, hey, yeah, work from home. We don't want you here, but you have to have a master's degree because that's the most important thing. College. Are you coming to the pizza party? Right? Like, hey, I can work from home, but are you coming to the pizza party? No, I'm not coming to the pizza party. Oh. Mazatzal, $2. Tesla homes might be an option for young folk. Yeah, they're out there. Don't get Boxable. Boxable looks like that was fraudulent. Okay, I don't want to claim it is. It looks like it might be. But things like barndominiums, nothing wrong with trailers. If you can square away your lodging, even if it's just building a simple little hut, Prince Revolver, $5. Cappy, what good is a livable wage if Americans vote against America? That's another good point. Hey, let's let all the world come over here. Why is housing so expensive? Right. And then there's the rank stupidity of Americans. We want more free shit. Why is inflation so high? No, I mean, I'll one up you on this one, Prince. Forget the practicality of the economy. If you just think free shit's going to fly, why am I going to get up in the morning if my wife is fat? If I'm not going to fall in love, have sex, have kids, whatever, have a good time with everyone's just going to be a fucking socialist asshole and bitch about how I'm oppressing them, or if the opposite sex is fat and unfuckable, what motivation, especially men. I know you girls are demotivated by all the Democrat boys that you created. Here's your Democrat. Here's the Democrat man you ordered, my lady. I understand you're not that motivated. Man, why are men going to get up in the morning? Well, they got Nebraska and they got video games. Mazatzal, $5. How did Shaniqua get hired when she will not fill out an application? Because she has a bestie in there. Although nepotism and cronyism, that was rife well before the DEI shit. She got hired because of racism and sexism. That's how. By the way, that doesn't mean if you're a black woman, you weren't hired legitimately. That does happen. I know several black ladies who are hardware. Erica Shanta Williams being one of them. Although she's self-employed. She's like, fuck this shit. I'm not doing this. Like, yeah, 1099 superior race. Absolutely. Kenny Firebird, $5. I'm busting, but to be as independent as I can be as soon as I can. The future is in question. Well, if it's not sustainable, you have to go somewhere else. You could go like, hey, boss, I'm not making enough to afford living here. So you either pay me or I'm leaving. So another thing people got to realize, employers need employees. They act like they don't. They may not be aware of it, but they do need employees. I mean, I've talked to several friends where, they got laid off because of some bullshit reason. I mean, truly a bullshit reason. And then all of a sudden, like, sheepishly, hey, how do we do this again? How do I, like, no, I'm now a 1099er. You will pay me $350 an hour with a $10,000 retainer fee that is not refundable. And then I will go do my old job that you fired me from or said was gone or replaced me with somebody else. And that person, oh my God, they embezzled money or they didn't know what to do. Shocking. Purdue again, $2. I'm CEO. I rule by spreadsheets, not logistics or common sense. Just common fucking sense. Happy cows make happy milk, right? Well-fed slaves build really great pyramids. Are you going to feed your slaves or not? That's all I want to know. No, we're going to force our slaves. Like, really, let's go back to ancient Egypt, right? So you're telling me Pharaoh, whichever one it was, like the slaves, he's not even going to have them near the pyramids. He's going to make them walk 5 miles. Well, no, that's where that's the up and coming gentrified part of Egypt. That's where the upper middle class Egyptians live. You gotta be out there, and we're gonna make the slaves walk 5 miles to the pyramids. I'm sure they're gonna be ready and energized to start stacking pyramids. It's not intelligence. I'm not a genius. This is so fucking common sense. It shows how dumb you corporations and corporate leaders are. Happy cows make happy milk, man. Well-fed slaves build great pyramids. All right, there you guys go. Questions, answers, Asshole Consulting. Take a look at that Bachelor Pad Economics. And then if you're interested in accounting, take a look at that course, The World's Greatest Accounting Career. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.